sons and daughters of Ascension flame, I, Serapis Soleil, greet you in this place and from the heart of my retreat at Luxor. Welcome to my white fire Ascension garments. Please be seated. First, I would tell you that by your decrees and the decrees of the messenger, the assassination attempt on the life of the President of Egypt, Mubarak, was thwarted. This was accomplished, beloved, by your gathering here and your giving your fiats of light. And we thank you. It has been noted that he has no successor. We are concerned for the stabilization of all nations where there are etheric retreats and sometimes physical retreats, such as those that are hidden entirely beneath the sands in Egypt. Our focus there is the focus of the Divine Mother, the Ascension flame, the misuse of the sacred fire in the base chakra, not only by those of Egypt, but by those of the entire world, results in the fanaticism and the out of balance state of consciousness that we find in the Middle East. Quite simply, the people cannot deal with the sacred fire of Ascension's flame that is present there, yet we may not turn down that fire, for that fire of Ascension's flame is a sign that can be seen by every soul upon earth. It is a signet. It does tell them, one day you shall enter this flame, and your soul shall return to God. Now, beloved, consider if all souls understood the violet flame and understood the necessity for personal balance. Consider if in the world's major religions there could have been a bringing together of all who have been the founders of those religions, rather than there be, as it is today, the separateness of Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, Zoroastrianism, and so forth. Think of it, beloved. It is as though there were cement walls as thick as the earth itself that would separate all avatars whom God has sent, all world teachers, all saints. What a pity it is, beloved, that the world cannot embrace all. Therefore, in fulfillment of the great dream of Akbar, so he has sent his messenger to bring together the mystical paths of the world's religion. This has been El Moria's dream. As you know, he was embodied as Akbar. It has been his dream, beloved. For you see, the merging of the paths must create, by love, also a merging of all peoples. As it stands, beloved, each of the separate groups has its own philosophy, its own metaphysics, its own inner and outer court. Yet it is the whole that is needed. It is the seven rays and the eighth ray. Thus it is all important. It is all important that you understand the confluent streams of the world's religions, and that you are fluent in discussing them, yet not only in discussing them, for we have seen discussions for centuries, but in truly internalizing the flame of God that is the original founder of every religion. Therefore, you who come have with somewhat ease been able to take in all of the major teachings of these religions, and you have been studying them perhaps decades and lifetimes before you found this place where all come together in the heart of the Divine Mother, and then can be taught through the messenger. It is well then, for when you understand another, you can have true brotherly and sisterly love. You can have true oneness. But those fallen angels who have crept in to every one of the world's religions, they then are being contacted by me in this moment. These very fallen ones have practiced the religion of divide and conquer, have elevated Satan and other gods, and they are the cause of the destruction of civilization. For civilization rises on the bedrock of religion or falls on the very foundations thereof, for it does not have the ability to stand because it is infested with fallen ones in the religious circles. Religion is the most important aspect of life, and all things proceed from it. And if the world does not see this, well then I say, you see it. And you must open the gates of the temple each night, the gates of the crown chakra, and enter into the heart of God, and be God taught in the retreats where the mechanisms of the world's religions are taught. There is not a world religion today that is not infested by fallen angels. If there had been one, we would not have had the need to found this one. For where you find true sons of God and adepts who are one with the great white brotherhood, you find this teaching. This teaching must not be hid. It must not be hid, beloved. It must be brought to light. Therefore we say in this hour, there are adepts, initiates, and simple chelas who are serving at my retreat at Luxor. They are there, beloved, and some of them will take their ascension without reincarnating, but 90% of those who are present today will be re-embodied. And so they are working in some instances on the very same things that you are working on. The soul retrieval, the expansion of the threefold flame, the balancing of karma, the spiritual mastery, the physical mastery, and the necessity of undoing thread by thread every karmic tangle. Now, beloved ones, since these life streams have been in my retreat, some for great lengths of time, some for hundreds of years, some for far less, I have placed upon them, as I have directed my angels to do, mantles of light, whereby they might join you here in this retreat. They are entering now this tabernacle of the Lord, and with your permission, I ask them to place their electronic presences, their four lower body essences over you, that you might now imbibe and come to have a sense of what it would be like if you were physically present, yet in the spiritual octave of my retreat. Thus, I come to replicate for you that experience in this tent. If you wish to receive them, you may call for that now. Each one of these students or initiates is accompanied by a seraphim under Holy Justinius. Now, beloved, some who have passed from the screen of life from this organization have been taken to the Cave of Symbols or the Royal Teton retreat, and others to various retreats in the world. Numbers of individuals who have had the violet flame in this century or in ancient days of Atlantis are also invited to our retreat at Luxor. There they continue the pursuits they had as they served in the temples of Atlantis and Lemuria. Feel the light of these ones, accept it into your chakras, for I should not have brought here this day any that would offend you. These are my very best students, beloved, and by receiving them, you receive a portion of myself, and you also take in and record in the unconscious elements of their life, their service, their studies, their mantras. I have done this partly because I have received the request from unascended life streams that they might be told, what is it like to learn and work and serve in the retreat at Luxor? Now attempt to know this by identifying with the Chela that is with you. First thing you would notice, beloved, is how concrete everything is. It is a misnomer to say that the etheric octave is ethereal. It is far more real and far more concrete than the things of the earth, which are Maya and illusion. Thus you step into reality when these initiates place themselves over you. The second thing that you see is the vastness of how far you really can see. You can see throughout the earth. You can know in an instant the auras of the people, the intents of their minds. You can read all minds and therefore be instruments in preventing evil before it manifests. The third thing you experience is that you can mount the octaves. You can climb the spiral staircase to higher and higher levels until you are stopped because your threefold flame may not be strong enough. The air is too thin, as they say, and so you cannot rise higher than the level of your attainment. Next, you see old friends of ages past, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 years ago, flash by you. You see these friends and the circumstances you are in. You see the sorrows of parting. You see the parting with ragged edges over fierce and serious discord. And in a flash, almost as though you were before the karmic board, you see many things that went wrong that you desire with such a new and intense desiring to make right. Your desire to make these things right is very deep, for you sense and you see that to ultimately be one in your Christ self and one with your twin flame, you must accomplish all these tasks of resolution. Now you identify around the earth individuals who have never touched the hem of the garment of this teaching in this life or for centuries. And you see them, and it is almost as though they were without the spiritual imploding, exploding fire of the mind that comes when you begin to know the beings of light who sponsor you. Your heart overflows with divine pity and concern, and thus you say, there is no more important work than being a missionary for God. I must go and find my brothers and sisters, especially those upon whom I have turned my back. I must go and give them the teaching. Suddenly the ministry of the word overtakes you as the Holy Spirit now continues the quickening that began with the initiates who are present. And the Holy Spirit makes clear to you that there are gifts and graces in the Holy Spirit, but to tell them, to go forth and tell them the message of everlasting life, this becomes paramount to you. For you see that though you might be ascending and you might qualify to remain in a retreat until your ascension, you would not have contacted those whom you have left behind. And your hearts are full and overflowing, and you no longer care how long it will take, but you must go out and find them and bring them in, else they might be lost for want of understanding. Those initiates who are one with you now wear magnificent garments trimmed in gold, beautiful design. There are garments of this type for every level of Chela, disciple, brother, sister. Luxor is a wondrous place, beloved. Do you think I have come in order to plead my case that you choose me as one of the three of your mentors? I state to you, beloved, that gaining the mastery of the white fire purity of God lends a white fire purity to all of the rays. If you love discipline, and joy is in your heart, and the giving of self, yet you may have another Chohan whom you would be with, I say, I welcome you to tarry in one of the courts of Luxor, at least to gain the place where the white sphere of the mother at the base of the threefold flame is strong and literally joyously bubbling with light as the foundation for that threefold flame of the Trinity. Now we lift from you their presences, and you slowly return to the level of the heart of the inner retreat, which is nevertheless elevated. And you know, even in the physical level here, the elevation of consciousness is far above the lands of the earth that are heavily populated in the dense cities, etc. What a privilege it is to have this land. It is indeed the pure land of the West. It is indeed the place of the coming of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. I, Serapis Sole, tell you that the path of the fourth ray, being midpoint in the spectrum, contains all the rays. Do not think of the white fire as simply a stern discipline. It is the correctness of the way. It contains the geometry of being, the foundation stone from which you will rise like a space shuttle into the arms of the everlasting God. There are many worlds to be transcended, beloved, but know that the intense love of God does quicken and quicken again and quicken again that sacred fire. Thus we come, those of us who are on the fourth ray this day, to empower you on that ray. It is an empowerment of the Holy Spirit. It is an empowerment of white fire. Yes, it demands the preparedness of all of the chakras, that the mother flame might rise without problem in your being. But when you have it, beloved, you have all things. You have the ability to send forth that light, to stop an assassination, to consume a plague, to reach every mother in labor with child, to see that that child is born and that mother is well. You have it, beloved. You have it in the crown chakra. And therefore, by love and only love, may you have that mastery. But when you have it, you will finally say to yourself, at last, I can do not only something, but great things for souls who need the white fire of the mother that I have conserved from the base to the crown. Be ready at a moment's notice, beloved, with your lamps trimmed, for if they are emptied, you shall know that sorrow and that sorrowing. Not only shall you not enter in to the bridal chamber with the Lord to become his bride, but you will have missed the opportunity to help a soul that has cried out to you in the night. And so we return and we welcome you to attend classes at Luxor. In the name of God, be God, go with God, and affirm that the I am in me is God.